No more chains on the chosen. No more chains on the chosen. No more silence. No more silence. From now on, judgment speaking. No more captivity. No more captivity. No more captivity. From now on, we ain't letting the pressure ride. You wasn't with the covenant, wasn't with us in the fire. Now they tremble when the kingdom rise. No more captivity. No more captivity. The Lion of Judah stepping in. We were slaves, now we kings in the making. Every chain that they forged now breaking. Covenant bloodline, no mistaking. Judgment coming, yeah, the earth gon' shake it. Eat 'em. The throne was forever. More teaming, but they couldn't measure. Ishmael built, but it won't hold together. When the most high rise, who can stand under pressure? We the people of the promise and fire. Every nation bowing low. We go higher. They didn't not us. Call
likes up, share the room with at least 10 people. We're about to get started in a little bit, y'all.
Forever. Never. Let it be for the Holy One. Lift it up. Lift it up to the Most High. Lift it up. Lift it up to the Most High. Hey. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, heart wide open, courts filled with praise. Every word we've spoken, from the rising sun to the place it's set. We honor his name, we ain't finished yet. He planted the righteous like trees so strong, rooted in truth, we've been here so long. Even in darkness it's like we see the judge of the earth gon' set us free. He stand in the congregation of might, judging the wicked, revealing the light. How long they oppress, how long they lie, but the saints gon' rise, we testify. Beat the drum, let it sound, let the whole earth sing. Praise the Most High, he the true King. Joyful noise, let it rise up strong. With the drum and the dance and the holy song. Beat the drum, beat the drum, let it sound, let the heavens ring. All creation bow to the sovereign King. From Zion's hill to the ends of far, we praise your name for who you are. For who you are. Yeah. Yeah. It is he that made us, not we ourselves, not by riches, not by wealth. We his people, sheep of his hand, guided by his word. We understand they call themselves gods, but they fall like men. Corrupt in power, judgment, to sin. Defend the poor, uplift the weak. That's the justice that the Most High seek. Rise, O Yah, judge the earth in might. All nations yours by holy right. The wicked tremble, the righteous stand true.
Y'all know how we do. Happy Sabbath to you all. Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. Make sure y'all tapping the screen, getting the lights up, share the room with at least 10 people, y'all. We're about to get started soon, y'all, in our exciting discussion here for this Sabbath. Make sure y'all sharing the live and tapping the screen. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful journey.
All creation bow to the sovereign King. From Zion's hill to the ends of far, we praise your name for who you are. In the morning, mercy new. Nighttime faithfulness, proven true. On the harp, on the lyre, let it play. Songs of Zion never fade. The righteous flourish, strong and tall, planted in his courts. We never fall, even in age. Still bring fruit, standing firm in holy truth. Sing unto him, serve him with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Beat the drum, let it sound, let the whole earth sing. Praise the Most High, he the true King. Joyful noise, let it rise up strong. With the drum and the dance and the holy song. Beat the drum, let it sound, let the heavens ring. All creation bow to the sovereign King. Forever righteous, forever true. All praise belong to you. The Most High reign forever and ever. Let everything that hath breath praise.
All right. Let's go ahead and start our discussion for today on the Forefront Radio. Let's get a couple of ones in the chat just to make sure the audio is good. Let me put remove background noise here. Everybody can hear with no issues, correct? We got ones in the building. Let's go. Let's put the ones in the building so I know that the audio is good. All right. Thank you so much. All praises, all praises. Happy Sabbath, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure y'all got your Bibles, your pen, your paper, your apocrypha. Make sure you're ready to write this stuff down. Make sure you are ready to take notes. This is a discussion dedicated to the Afro-Hebraic community. And it's important for us to align current events with the scriptures. All right. So make sure y'all got your pens, your Bibles, your apocryphas ready. If you don't have any text that we mentioned in today's discussion, my recommendation is to go online and look up the book and get it either on your smartphone or on a laptop to access it. Okay. So make sure y'all ready to take notes. I want y'all to be professional students to understand the scriptures. Do me a favor, if you are on the Discord channel, please share the live on the Discord channel for brothers and sisters that are there, so that way they can join on. Also, if you could do me a huge favor, share this on your social media, your X account, your Facebook, your TikTok, your YouTube, repost. Okay, share the live stream. Okay, this particular discussion that we have impacts all of our people. It doesn't matter if you're an Israelite, if you're a Christian, if you're Muslim. We are going to discuss today systemic oversight, state sanction, and the prophetic arc of 8 different captivities impacting our people. So whether you believe in the Bible or not, it don't even matter. The information that we're going to cover is true, factual, and predictive. Okay? Shalom to everybody joining on. Happy Sabbath. All right? Share this live stream with everybody that you know. Friends, families, coworkers, even enemies. They ain't doing nothing on a Saturday anyway, so you might as well share the live with them, right? Share it on WhatsApp. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it on your YouTube post. Share the Forefront Radio on your platforms that you use on social media every day, because we need to get the word out, y'all. The reason why I say that is it's not easy for me as an individual to be a host, to be a producer, to write the scripts, to record the videos, to edit the videos, to post the videos, and at the same time I'll be on daddy daycare. You understand? So it's not easy to do all of this stuff. Help me, assist me, be a part of this family by spreading the information and supporting independent media. Okay? We can't do this without you. Okay? I try to be a one-man army, but I can't fight all the time without supporters. I want to also take a moment to thank all our financial supporters of this podcast, those that have contributed to our efforts to teach here in Africa through prayers, through shared fellowship, through financial support, and any other means. We got brothers that really reach out, sisters that really reach out, they check and say, hey, you doing okay? I've been looking for you live, bro. Where you at? You know, so I really appreciate that love. All right. And if there's anything that I could do to extend myself further, the Bible says, he that is greatest among you, let him be your servant. So I'm here to serve the people to the best of my capabilities. It don't matter if we host a live and we end our live at 1 a.m. one day. You understand? Wake up at 3 to continue teaching. You understand? Fall asleep, pass out, wake up again at 5. Fall asleep, pass out, wake up again. You understand? So we about this Bible. Okay? All right. Thank y'all for sharing the live. Let's start our discussion today going into our people being impacted with modern day law enforcement dynamics, intelligence programs, and the Afro-Hebraic identity thoughts. So if you're new to this platform, make sure you follow this account. The Forefront Radio is dedicated to the diaspora. We teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that you are the lost tribes of Israel according to the Bible. We appreciate your listenership. The first day I met you, you helped me put together a lesson. Oh yeah, I remember that, Byron. All praises. I remember that conversation. Wow, that was a minute too. You remember that? I remember that, bro. That's crazy work, right? We've been here on TikTok for a little minute. So, over the past 2 to 3 years, our communities have witnessed a persistent, systemic pattern of pressure across local, federal, and international law enforcement bodies. If we wasn't sugar honey iced tea, Why would all these different agencies always try to mess with us? You don't see it happen in the Chinese folks. You don't see it happen in the Arabs. What is it about us that them folks feel like they gotta always look at us as the bad guy? The liar knows what lies they told. From city police departments to immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, F and the B and the I, to the C, I, and to the A. From state agencies to federal, the apparatus of state power continues to impact the Black community. That's according to Freedom for Immigrants. My discussion today is straightforward. No sugarcoating. I know I'm very blunt. These structural dynamics are not isolated incidents. They're not conditions of policy failure. They're not mishaps that occur by happenstance. They're a modern continuation of historical and prophetic patterns that identify the scattered descendants of the transatlantic war and the trans-Saharan war, and the displaced Black populations of our global diaspora as the true Afro-Hebraic remnant of the lost tribes of Jacob. We're going to start off our conversation with Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7. Jeremiah 49, verse 7. It says, write it down, moderators, please, for me. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7. Shalom to everybody joining on. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Forefront Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your warm greetings. I appreciate everybody coming in. All right. Moderators, do we got the scriptures in the chat? Thank you for the rose, sis. Appreciate it. Where my mods at? Where my mods at? Where my mods at? We hiding? Where my mods at? We don't have no mods today? Nobody want to put the scriptures in the chat for me? Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7. All right, when we start flying with scriptures, I don't know. Y'all going to be asking in the comment section, what scripture was that? I'll be like, I don't know. My moderators is chilling. I don't know. All right. Concerning Edom. Concerning who? Concerning Edom. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. Who speaking? The Most High. Is there wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is there wisdom vanished? Flee, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. So the Most High says he has a visitation on Esau. If you don't know who Esau is, just look at the corner right there. If you don't know who Esau is, just look at the corner right there. That's Esau according to the Bible. Let's jump down to verse 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare, like bare bottom, right? I have made Esau bare. What does the Bible say? I have made Esau bare. You said they're on Zion's Live? Okay. Shalom to you, sister Yolinda. Shalom, brother Yedidiah. Shalom, sister Carmika. Shalom, Ebony. Shalom, Hosea. All right. If anybody's on another live, that's okay. As long as y'all studying, that's all that matters to me. All right? All right, so whenever sister ends her live, then they'll probably join here. All right. Verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. He shall not be able to hide himself. You see, over the last 24 to 36 months, law enforcement, especially local police misconduct across American metropolitan centers, has demonstrated clearly that reforms don't work. Reforms have failed to dismantle the systemic inequalities and inequities that we see going on today. Statistical data on pretextual traffic stops, use of force incidents, and qualified immunity protections continue to reflect a disproportionate enforcement in black neighborhoods. What does that mean? These jokers still dealing with us wrong, y'all. That's what that means. That's what that means. That means the people that don't have our best interests at heart hide behind words like liberty, freedom, democracy, and they're not holding up to the values that they set even for themselves. How you call yourself freedom and justice for all, but over the past 3 years, we see that there's law enforcement agencies that are going outside of law to be judge, jury, and executioner. Simultaneously, federal immigration policy under ICE has executed quiet, aggressive enforcement actions that disproportionately target black immigrants. Reports from civil rights organizations, including Freedom for Immigrants and the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is BAJI, revealed that Afro-Caribbean and West African migrants face higher detention rates. I want y'all to think about this, y'all. They also receive higher bond amounts, longer periods of solitary confinement, and accelerated deportation orders compared to non-black detainees. So they'll take somebody from Syria or somebody from Germany and not treat them the same way they'll treat somebody from Haiti, somebody from Jamaica. Y'all, we're the original people of America. West Indians, when Christopher Columbus came and he discovered these West Indians, who the hell you think that was? Folks that look like you and I. Not Siberians. He didn't come across Siberians. He didn't come across people that was from Russia and China, people from the Philippines and Japanese people. They came across us, our particular demographic. The Arawak, the Taino, the Taino, Haiti, Haiti. You understand? People from Dominican Republic, people from Puerto Rico, people from Mexico, people from South Florida, the Seminole Indians, the Pequot Indians, the Narragansett Indians, the Choctaw. All these melanated communities all across the West Indies have been negatively impacted by the same jokers that ain't even from here. How are you deporting people and you ain't even from America? That's what I'm trying to figure out. All these Eurocentrics literally come from Europe, but they feel as though they could write pieces on a piece of paper and say, we're going to kick out the original inhabitants of the whole entire Western Hemisphere out of our particular pocket of land that we call the United States. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I want y'all to think about this. Black migrants in ICE custody report systemic mistreatment at rates far exceeding their proportion of total detained populations. Local police departments directly funnel individuals into federal immigration pipelines through 287G agreements, creating a dual mechanism of criminalization and expulsion. You get arrested. They run your name through a database. They say, are you an American citizen or not? Police officer give you a traffic violation. Then you get your traffic violation, and now an ICE agent is at your doorstep talking about you don't belong here because you got a traffic violation. This is happening to black folks, y'all. Black folks that lived in America for years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. There's folks out here that grew up in this state, and they just don't got citizenship because they came when they was 2 years old and their parents didn't give them the proper documentation. Imagine you're a Caribbean islander. You're the same inhabitants of the land that Christopher Columbus encountered. And in 2026, the descendants of Christopher Columbus looking at you and saying, you're illegal, you're an insurgent, you're a criminal. After centuries of mistreatment. After centuries of mistreatment. Shalom to you. Hope you're doing all right, sis. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. So, Section 2. Federal Intelligence Oversight, the FBI and the CIA. When we examine the federal apparatus, the historical lineage is unbroken. The FBI had a historical co-intel or counterintelligence program, which officially operated between 1956 to 1971. And it was specifically designed to, quote, expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize any melanated person who was a black nationalist or a civil rights organization. It didn't matter if you was part of Martin Luther King Jr. It didn't matter if you was part of Malcolm X. It didn't matter if you was Fred Hampton. It didn't matter if you was in the Black Panther Party. If you was melanated, they was all up in your business. Do you get it? You understand? In recent years, that same institution, that same architecture reemerged under intelligence designations where they call the melanated people black identity extremists. Now, who the hell you think they talking about when they talk about black identity extremists? The same people that you see reading the Bible, the same people that's telling you love your neighbor as yourself, the same people telling you stop committing adultery and fornication and lust, the same people telling you Jesus is a black man, the same people on street corners all across America, on social media like TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms. They say you're too extreme for America. Because you want to know your identity prior to captivity that they tried to hide for centuries? Because you wanted to align yourself with the prophetic text known as the Bible and know that your ancestors fit the prophecies? They also have another title, RMVE. RMVE, Racially Motivated Violent Extremists. Don't know what the hell that means. This label, this fake, phony, imaginary label, has been weaponized by federal counter-terrorism agencies and divisions to justify federal intelligence surveillance. I don't think they don't watch. I don't think they don't watch this. Is Jesus part of your identity? Yeah, Jesus is a black man from the tribe of Judah. We are the real Jews. Jesus is part of our identity because Jesus was from the tribe of Judah, and according to the Bible, the Jews are black. Okay, so yes, Jesus is part of our identity. Jesus is one of our ancestors, just like Moses, who was compared to a black Egyptian. Just like Moses, you lack knowledge bad. Nah, I'm just read the Bible. If I lack knowledge, why does the Bible say this? Numbers chapter 12, verse 1. See, you Gentiles, you're going to have a rude awakening on Judgment Day. Numbers chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. So if Moses married a black woman, what color are his children? Uh-oh.
Hostile in range.
Let's use the same logic they used from the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. If you got one drop of Negro blood, that means you're black. That's how America treated us. So am I incorrect, or is what they teach you in church a complete lie? Trinity Broadcasting Network, CBN News, we're reading in the Bible that Moses married an African woman. Oh, you thought the Bible started in Europe? Really? You made a statement and said that my knowledge is lacking. You don't even know the Bible. You don't even know the Bible. If I started pulling you on the panel and asking you questions, you probably couldn't even answer my basic Bible questions. So just take notes. Just do that. If you're in my audience and you're new to this platform, I recommend just taking notes and writing down the scriptures and listening before you respond. Because I don't want you to embarrass yourself for literally 18,000 people on TikTok that are followers of this account to see you fumble the ball. Okay? Let's continue our discussion. So while these Eurocentric delusionalists call us BIE and RMVE, these labels try to literally place on our people federal intelligence surveillance, social media stalking, physical tracking, and infiltration of community activists. Legal defense organization is being hindered, and Hebraic assemblies, meaning churches, advocating for black self-determination are being infiltrated. This is important because both internationally and domestically, the CIA has a historical record and it reveals programs that are set to destabilize Afro-Hebraic communities and Afro-descendant populations. It doesn't matter if you call yourself Christian. It doesn't matter if you call yourself a Hebrew. It doesn't matter if you call yourself Muslim. All of our people, no matter what religious persuasion, are negatively impacted by the government forces of this country. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the heart. Domestically, the investigation popularized by a journalist known as Gary Webb in his Dark Alliance series, and I recommend getting that information if you want, documented how CIA backed Contra forces in Nicaragua and facilitated the mass importation of schmugs into Los Angeles during the 1980s. This is not hidden information, it's documented. And it triggered an epidemic that literally destroyed inner city black families and led to the mass incarceration boom. You understand? You're not ready for correction. You're a Christian Israelite. I'm a follower of the Messiah, and I believe that I'm an Israelite according to the Bible. So yeah, I guess you're correct. If I follow the Messiah as it is written in the scriptures, and I believe in keeping the laws, I guess your designation or whatever box you want to put me in is correct. But I want you to understand something. No matter what title you call yourself, these jokers out here, Mr. Dwight, is persecuting all of us, fam. Okay? All of us are getting persecuted, y'all. When you get pulled over by the police, do they stop and ask you what's your religious affiliation? No. They don't give a damn. We recently did a story of a live stream on our TikTok, on our YouTube page, where a young brother named Jamarian Robinson was unalived 100 pops by the popo. His mother tried to seek justice. His mother was persecuted. His mother could not get them to file charges on the people that did the illegal acts. They threw a flashbang grenade on this dude, man. And to top it all off, he was suffering from a mental health crisis, specifically schizophrenia. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So if you see this happening, and this was 10 years ago, and after 10 years, shalom to you, Zion, hope you're doing good. After 10 years, his mother couldn't even get the criminal court case to try it because they moved it from state to federal, and then they used federal immunity to block her from getting justice. Then when she tried to go to the court systems in a civil lawsuit, they blocked her from even getting a civil lawsuit. Do you understand? Do you get it? Do you get it? So it's very important in these last days to understand, no matter what your demographic is, you're living in a state governed by military apparatus. When we tell you you're under a police state, it's as if people have blinders over their eyes and they don't want to see reality. Instead, they want to antagonize the truth teller instead of going and antagonizing the liar that lied to you. They lied and told you you're in a free and just society while they persecute you right in front of your face. And they mock you on the evening news. Do you see the Nolan Wells case going on right now? Somebody tell me what's going on with the Nolan Wells case, please. Somebody, listen, it's not about Obama. Obama's not in power right now. Right now, the current commander-in-chief is Donald Trump, and he's doing way worse for melanated communities all across the planet than any other president in world history. This is the same joker that said he's not going to start a war and literally initiated a war. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You in my comment section talking about former President Obama. What are you talking about? Are we under his administration or are we under an orange man right now? I don't get it. Y'all jokers just like to shift the blame instead of accept the shame. Let's just shift the blame and say, let's blame it on a black guy, huh? Sounds like a common denominator here. The criminal is calling other people criminal, while the hero, the victim, the person that should get justice, is criminalized and demonized on the evening news or in the comment section of TikTok. Interesting. So internationally, we know that the CIA's covert operations across West Africa, including the 1961 unaliving of Patrice Lumumba in the Congo, dealing with Belgium, right? The Caribbean, the economic and political destabilization of Haiti, intentionally caused by the United States government and other Western powers. And Latin America systematically dismantled any form of sovereign black leadership, as if black folks don't exist in Latin America. Somebody said Gaddafi. Okay, King J, this is the last time you comment on my comment section, bro. Listen, if you're not on one accord with what we're talking about here, just kick rocks. I have no problem blocking people. I have no problem doing. I've even blocked moderators, so I don't show no favoritism to nobody. If you full of sugar honey iced tea, I'm gonna just kick you off my live. Okay? We're here for people that actually want to hear information. Why distract me with your BS? So now, Patrice Lumumba was unalived in 1961. You don't debate? Nope, I sure don't. I sure don't. It's you gonna get this Bible verse and you gonna get this information, take notes, and that's it. I don't debate nobody. Okay, and that's in the scriptures. That's in the scriptures. Matter of fact, let me show it to you in the Bible. Let's go to Romans. Let me show you why Forefront don't like to debate and argue with people on the internet, because it's biblical. Let's go to Romans. Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1, and let's read verse 29. Romans chapter 1, verse 29. This is the reason why you don't see me arguing with people on the internet. It says, being filled with all unrighteousness. So the first thing we see is the people that like to argue their point. The Bible says they're full of unrighteousness. Then it says, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate. I rest my case. So you see why the Forefront Radio don't debate? The same person that'll argue with you about the Bible, they'll be willing to unalive you. Yeah. The same people that argue about the Bible will be caught on Judgment Day committing acts of fornication that they never repented of. That's in the Bible, y'all. This is why Forefront don't got no time to waste arguing with people on the internet. Think about it. I want y'all to think about it. If waters are turning blood red, like predicted in the Bible in Revelation chapter 16, and it's coming true, do you think I, as a teacher, would focus on people that want to argue? Yes or no? Write it in the chat, please. If I'm literally seeing 20,000 people negatively impacted by solar activity, do you think I got time to waste arguing with somebody that don't even believe in the Bible? Not at all. Not at all. So what do? I focus on the scriptures. So these federal cases and operations are not separate from local police misconduct. They are top-down and bottom-up layers of the exact same power structure against our particular demographic. So it's important in these last days for us to be aware, because Christ himself said, you're going to know the truth, and the truth is going to make you free. Do you get it? Thank you for the let him cook. I appreciate you. Thank you for the let him cook. Next section, the scriptural thesis of the Afro-Hebraic identity. Why does it matter? That's the question that they'll ask, right? What does it matter if Jesus is black? Why does this specific global matrix of oversight and subjugation pursue our specific people across every continent and every time frame and every era. The scriptures provide the precise diagnostic tool. So we're going to go to the Bible and we're going to determine why does it happen to us? Because that's what people are asking on social media. You got young women between the ages of 20 to 30 to 40 asking on the internet, why is it that black people always getting persecuted? What did we do to these Europeans for them to mistreat us? What did we do to these Arabs? What did we do to these Asians that they don't like us? Even Jesus said, you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake, and that's in the Bible. But folks aren't paying attention. They're not reading. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, and let's diagnose this thing. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. It says, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And thou, even thyself, meaning the 12 tribes of Israel, would be disconnected from their identity, from their culture, and their understanding of who they are. God said to all his children that live for him, they will be persecuted. He never chose one culture. Okay, explain to me why Europeans aren't being lynched on trees in America. Explain to me why 1-year-old children aren't being chased down by police when their mothers go and buy Pampers in a local Walmart and they're not falsely accused of thievery, where the police officer open fires and goes pew, 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 and uses their super soaker and unalive a 1-year-old European American. Explain to me when Europeans that are religious converts to Talmudism, that are Polish, tell me when in history they were taken as captives all across the planet based on their demographic. It ain't never happened to them. So we're talking about the Bible. If it ain't relating to you, just kick rocks with no shoes on. God loves everybody, but we're the only ones being persecuted on the planet? We're the only ones that's being mistreated on a massive scale, century to century to century. You still don't know who the lost tribes of Jacob are. So just sit down and take notes. Just take notes. That's all I'm asking y'all to do. Got so much stuff to say, but don't know Bible verse 1. Sheesh. I have a quick question, forefront. Is the Ethiopian Bible worth exploring? Yes. Read the books of Enoch. Read the book of Jubilees found in the Ethiopian canon. Very insightful text of literature to read and Black history. Okay, very important information. You'll get missing information that's in the that you won't find in the regular King James Bible. So the Bible says, thou, meaning you, even yourself, even thyself, shall discontinue from your heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies. What does the Bible say? I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So the fundamental marker of who the true sons and daughters of Jacob are in the end times is not merely geographical location. Because they'll tell you, oh, the people in the Holy Land are the real Hebrews. No, they're not. They're imposters. Watch this. But a total forced loss of heritage, a loss of identity, a loss of nationality, a loss of language, and a loss of ancestral memory. Who did that happen to?
Hostile in range.
Now they mad. Now all the people coming out of Christianity, they mad now. Forefront, don't talk about your history. Talk about everybody. God loves everybody, forefront, not just you. God didn't prophesy that you would lose your identity being called a color in the crayon box. God didn't say that you would be taken on ships and scattered all over the planet. God didn't say that Jesus is black, forefront. That's just a lie, forefront. Jesus is European and loves everybody.
Hostile in range.
They can't deal with reality. They cannot deal with reality. The devil deceives the whole world. The devil deceives the whole world. What makes you think your religious denomination is exempt? So, no other group in world history on the earth was systematically stripped of their original family names, ancestral languages, religious traditions and customs, and historical record through state-sponsored decree, through church that authorized our specific demographic into captivity in the Transatlantic War, the East African War, the Trans-Saharan trade. It ain't talk about nobody else, y'all. Why you keep calling us ab-original? Ab means without, original means origin. So these melanated communities, you say they're without origin. We don't know where they come from. Ab-original. Why you keep calling us colors in the crayon box, like negros, morenos? That's a Spanish word for black. Last time I checked, there's no ancestor called that. There's no ancestor that I can go to and say, hey, you know what? I want to buy a plane ticket and visit my relative. Welcome to Ethiopian Airlines. Where would you like to go to? I would like to go to the country called Black. What the hell? Where's that located? In outer space? Where is it? My beard is black. My face is not. You understand? Do you get it? All right. So let's look at another prophecy that even the Messiah himself said. We stay blessed, though. That's right. I know that's right. Even the Messiah said this prophecy, and guess what? The vast majority of churches ignore this text. Watch this. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. It says, and they, referring to the Israelites, shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Now, let's do a process of elimination. Did that happen to Chinese people? Right, Y for yes, right, N for no. Who went into captivity, aka slavery, in all nations? Did that happen to Chinese folks? No. These are the words of Jesus himself. These are the words of Jesus himself. What about Arabic people that converted to a religion called Islam? Did that happen to them? Yes or no? We're going to put 1 for yes. We're going to put 2 for no. So 2's in the chat if your answer is no. We got a lot of people saying no. Interesting. We got a lot of 2's in the comment section. Interesting. That's amazing. That's amazing how we're reading the Bible and we're dealing with reality. What about European people that converted to Talmudism, right? Judaism, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine? Did they ever go into captivity in all nations? 3 would be for yes. 4 would be for no. So put 4's in the chat if your answer is no. 4's in the chat if your answer is no. 3 for yes. I'm seeing a lot of 4's in the comment section. So that means your understanding of history is accurate. That means your understanding of the prophetic text is accurate. Do you realize so many millions of people in Christianity can't even figure out this verse? Do you know that many theologians, pastors, deacons, cardinals, popes can't tell you and explain to you clearly who this is talking about? Now, put a Y in the chat for yes if blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, so-called Africans, people from Papua New Guinea, people from Africa, people from Europe, people from Asia, right, that are of our particular demographic, was scattered and displaced, removed from North Africa, sold into captivity, and were taken into every different place all over the planet. Y for yes and for no. If your answer is yes, that means you're the lost tribes of Jacob.
Thug life.
If your answer is yes, that means you are God's chosen people. If your answer is yes, that means you're the chosen ones. You're the chosen ones. You're the chosen ones. You're the chosen ones, y'all.
Thug life.
I want you to think about that and consider that in your spirit. You are God's chosen. God like you. God loved you and had mercy on you and your children, but because your ancestors rejected his laws, the same thing the Christian church tried to tell you to do, they want to take away your blessing.
Thug life.
They want to take away your blessing. This is why you see Gentiles try to argue and debate, but they don't want to deal with facts. I know a lot of Gentiles that'll give their right pinky toe to be God's chosen people.
Thug life.
They want the blessings. They want the accoutrements. They want to feel good about that statement, but they don't want the curses. They don't want the judgments. They don't want the penalties for disobedience. They don't want that. They want all the good things in the Bible. Notice about modern religion today. All the good things about the Bible, they want it. Love, grace, peace, immortality. But when it comes to judgments, when it comes to penalties, they don't want it. They don't want it. Why did I scroll up on your live and it said it was ended? They trying to silence you. You see? We're currently, you see that? We currently live, but when you scroll up, my live just disappears as if it's closed when it's not.
Thug life.
And I think that's interesting because usually when we start live streams and have discussions, we're usually at 170 to 200 listeners by now. So I believe you. I believe what you're saying. The censorship is real. They program algorithms to block what we say. It was a black screen on your end, you see? The same thing happened to you, you see? You see? You see? Interesting. So if what we're saying is not impactful, why all the censorship? Yep. Natas at his best. Backwards. So, the text says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Now we know that's us. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now, every Christian pastor, every Christian deacon and theologian will tell you that we're living in the time of the Gentiles right now because we're not under the rulership of Christ. So if we're under the rulership of the Gentiles right now, who's in Jerusalem? Sometimes you can't even find my live. Interesting. The truth hurt those that don't want you to know the truth. Exactly.
Hostile in range.
You are absolutely 144,000% correct. Do me a favor, y'all. Tap the screen, get the likes up, share the room with at least 10 people. This is why I'm recommending that you share the lives. God didn't call the qualified, he qualified the called. Michelle Boyle, I appreciate you, but stop with that Christian jargon. That ain't in the Bible, love. I appreciate you. Thank you for the support, but that ain't in the Bible. That's feel-good motivational speech tactics from liars and thieves that are idolaters and they want to take your money. That's where that comes from. You understand? It's feel-good messages in order to go into your psyche and dig into your pockets instead of supporting legitimate ministries that actually want you to live a righteous life. Many people prefer feel-good messages instead of thought-provoking themes that will cause you to connect back to the scriptures and back to our culture as the Afro-Hebraic community. They just want you to feel good. They want you to dance. They want you to sing with the praise team. Right? Lift up your holy hands and praise the Lord. Hallelujah. But then when you go home from the discussion, you forget everything. There's no resignation in your mind that I'm going to start today being obedient so I don't fall under a curse for disobedience. Do you get it? I hope you get it. I like that narrative. That's exactly what they done. Exactly. Christ explicitly stated that following the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, that the true descendants, the true people of God, would not remain in the land in power, but would be led away captive into all nations. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26. Now we're going to go a little bit faster, y'all. So if you're not writing down the scriptures, I don't know what to tell you. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26. Now we're going to go a little bit faster, so make sure y'all writing this down. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26. It says, I said I would scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. This is why folks don't understand who we are today. The remembrance of us being the lost tribes of Jacob has ceased from humanity. But why? Because of religion and because of the political spectrum, because of the education system. They neglect who the real people of the Bible are to teach us lies while they steal our tithes, to teach us lies while they tax us and tariff us. Do you get it? So the prophetic verse is telling us also in the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30, in the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30, exactly how we would identify ourselves. Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I know that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. Meaning what? Black folks rebellious. When it comes to this Bible, folks don't want to do what the book say. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
Thug life.
So in the same land that your ancestors were taken as captives and enslaved, you would remember who you are. You would remember who you are. It's time for us to stop playing church and time for us to accept our covenant and what our ancestors did. We are in the land of our captivity. We are in the same land where the people took us as captives. Some folks have never left from where their ancestors was taken as captives. You do realize that, right? If you were in the Caribbean islands and you was taken to the UK, some of our folks just stayed there for 200-300 years. If you were taken from the United States and you was brought to Liberia, your people just stayed there. If you were taken from the west coast of Africa and brought to South Carolina, you just stayed there. You understand? If you were taken from the northeastern section of the United States, right, and taken down to the Caribbean islands, you just grew up there, and you thought, "Oh, I'm a West Indian. Hey, They start saying stuff like, I'm a Bahamian. I'm from St. David's Island." They don't even know that they're the Narragansett tribe or the Pequot Indians and the lost tribes of Jacob. They don't even know. They don't even know. They don't even know. So this awakening in the land of our captivities is happening today. Today in 2026, so many people are waking up and realizing, I'm a Hebrew. I am God's chosen. Wait a minute, I'm not a color in a crayon box. I'm not this thing that they call Balak. Be-lack. Wow. So this awakens us to understanding why we are the ones that are facing, right? Shalom to you, Branch. Hope you're doing good. Right? From the east to the west, right? We're the ones facing sociological, political, and religious pressures when we face the government agencies of ICE, police misconduct on a state and federal level, as well as municipality level, and federal surveillance of our people through modern manifestations of the covenant curses written in the law, written in the Bible. Now, we're going to have part 2 of our discussion, a detailed walkthrough on 8 different captivities impacting our community, proving that Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26 is the true historical footprint of the Afro-Hebraic community. Walk with me. Walk with me. Walk with me. Let's get into this thing. The framework of Israel's history is governed by the covenant of blessings and curses outlined in chapters 28 of Deuteronomy and Leviticus chapter 26. The Most High God said and established, if you keep my covenant, you're going to be elevated to be the top nation on the earth, from verse 1 to verse 14. Okay? It doesn't matter. You said, I'm white, I don't see color. Okay. I need you to reverse that mindset. Even if you don't see color, there's a privilege that comes with your demographic. No one says that I'm going to drive 100 miles per hour through a red light when there's an 18-wheeler at the end of the road and then say color doesn't matter. I don't see color. Use your intellect. Don't use the same talking points that people give you to sound politically correct. That is a PC statement, and it's invalid when it comes to scriptures. I need you to use your intellect and critical thinking. Yes, it sounds good to say color doesn't matter, but what does the Bible say? That's the most important thing. We're more focused on biblical based transparency because most of the churches have lied to us over the centuries. So, how do we identify who are the lost tribes of Jacob according to the text of Scripture? Well, the key theme throughout the entire Bible is that the Israelites would be punished due to disobedience to God's laws. So, breaking the covenant, African people are not. You never been to Africa, so you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You never been to Africa, you don't know what you're talking about. Watch this. While breaking the covenant results in a specific unmistakable curses that act as a sign and a wonder upon the true seed of Israel forever. Let's go to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Deuteronomy 28, verse 45 and 46. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Meaning what? They'll lose their identity, they'll lose their culture, they'll lose their understanding of who they are in the last days. Watch this. Because now God is going to give the reason why. Because thou hearkenest not, meaning didn't listen to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep the commandments. What does the Bible say? To keep the commandments, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. So the Creator said to keep my commandments and live. Keep my commandments, you're going to be blessed. Keep my commandments, you're going to be the head and not the tail. Keep my commandments and you're going to be above all nations. Did our particular demographic listen? The answer is no. Watch this, verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. You walking down the street, you're driving in your car, you're looking for the sign that says, hey, where is this destination that I'm going to? So when you read these prophecies, when you read these generational curses, it indicates as a sign of who the lost tribes of Jacob are. Now, we're going to walk down this thing chronologically. We're going to go through 8 major captivities, and we're going to verify each period through the King James Version Bible. We're also going to use the Apocrypha, and we're also going to use the Book of Jubilees and documented historical sources. You ready? Let's go. Captivity number 1. Everybody write this down. Captivity number 1. Captivity number 1. The Egyptian captivity. Captivity number 1, the Egyptian captivity. The foundational text, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, right? It tells us that the Israelites was physically placed in servitude and established a core pattern of state oppression, forced labor, and ultimate divine redemption. So let's go to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Here's the covenant parallel. Thank you. It says, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, and the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again. Egypt again. Egypt again. So we got to find out, spiritually speaking, what Egypt means. The ancient Hebrew term for Egypt is not the Greek term Egyptos, but it symbolically is the meaning Mizraim, a place of bondage and servitude, as defined by Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6. Let's read it. What does Egypt mean according to the Bible? Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6, it says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So in the mindset of the chosen people, Egypt or Mizraim spiritually means for us a place of bondage, a place of servitude, a place of forced labor. Watch this. Let's go to the parallel. Leviticus 26. Verse 13. Leviticus 26, verse 13. Leviticus 26, verse 13. Write it down. Highlight it, underline it. Leviticus 26, verse 13. And it reads, I am the Lord your God, which have brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye should not be their bondmen, aka slave men. And I have broken the bands of your yoke, meaning yokes of iron, yokes of wood around your neck, and made you to go upright. So the Most High turned us from a people group that was held in captivity to being designated as a nation of kings and priests. That's your original purpose. You were meant to be a nation of kings and priests having rulership and dominion over the entire planet. Now, let's look at scriptural verification of the 12 tribes being prophesied all the way back in Genesis 400 years earlier to Abram about what would happen to his descendants. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. I hope y'all writing this down. I know we're going fast, but I hope you're writing this down. Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. It says, "And he said to Abram, know of a certainty, know of a surety, that thy seed, meaning your children, your descendants, shall be in a stranger in a land that is not theirs, aka Egypt, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now, 400 years later, what happened? Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. So 400 years from the time that God sat down and spoke to Abram, this occurred. Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. It says, therefore they did set over them taskmasters. What did the Egyptians do? They set over them slave masters. Taskmasters. You got a job to afflict them, just like we read in Genesis, to afflict them with their burdens, meaning work. Afflict them through work. Afflict them through work. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So they built the Capitol buildings, just like they did in America. Interesting. Watch this. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, meaning force. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick. That's construction. So the Israelites were forced to work in construction, just like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Americas were forced to work where? In construction. Watch this. And in all manner of service in the field, like the cornfield, like the sugarcane field, like the cotton field. That's the agricultural sector, y'all. And that happened to our particular demographic all across the planet, from the areas of Zimbabwe to the townhomes of Kenya and Malawi to West Africa, South Africa. Our ancestors were taken all the way into Europe, Spain, Portugal, France, UK, had our people working in the agricultural sector. Guess what? Even the Chinese did that. Even the Arabians did that. For more than 1,300 years, the Arabians had our people across the Indian Ocean, the East Africa, as well as the trans-Saharan trades. Why is there a mosque all the way in Southeast Africa? Because of the religion of Islam. Why across the street from that, shalom to you, Urban, hope you're doing good. Why across the street from that, you have a Christian, Scottish church set up? It's because these religious structures knew that we were the chosen people and decided to do what? Place God's chosen people under hard bondage. Watch this. Let's go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 46, verse 11. Let's go to a hidden book called the book of Jubilees. We're going to go to chapter 46. And we're going to read verse 11. This is more of an elaboration on what happened and what took place, right? Okay. The book of Jubilees, chapter 46, verse 11 and 12. It says, and the king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt. And he devised an evil device against the children of Israel, of afflicting them. And he said unto the people of Egypt, behold, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Come now, and let us deal wisely with them before they be too many. And let us afflict them with slavery before war come upon us, and before they too fight against us. Else they will join themselves to our enemies and get them up out of the land, for their hearts and faces are towards the land of Canaan. So they knew for a fact that our ancestors lived in the land of Canaan. So when the Canaanites and the Egyptians was fighting each other for dominance, when the Ethiopians and the ancient Mizraim were fighting for dominance, guess what? The Egyptians said, these folks that's here, their ancestors was in the land of Canaan. Before they join with the Canaanites, let's make sure that we keep them heavy in bondage. You understand? It's the same thing America did. When the British and America was fighting their revolutionary wars and their fight for dominance over the land, each side was taking some of our people, forcing them to work, and then putting them in the military. If you join the British military, we'll set you free. They didn't do that. If you join the American military, we'll set you free. Join our American Revolution against the British, and we'll set you free. They didn't do that. Manipulation at its finest. Manipulation at its finest. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 47, verse 1 and verse 2. Jubilees chapter 47, verse 1 and verse 2. Jubilees chapter 47. Shalom Kumasi. Hope you're doing good. Hey, if anybody's leaving Sister Hamdia's live, make sure you share the live with them so they could join here, all right? I don't know if this sister ended their live, but I'm seeing a lot more people pop in here, so make sure you share the live with her, with the folks that are from her live, all right? Thank you for liking the live. Jubilees chapter 47, verse 1 and verse 2. And in the 7th week, in the 7th year, and in the 47th Jubilee, thy father went forth from the land of Canaan, and thou was born in the 4th week, and the 6th year thereof, in 2330 Anno Mundi, meaning year of the world. 48 Jubilee, this was the time of tribulation on the children of Israel. And Pharaoh, king of Egypt, issued a command regarding them that they should cast all their male children which were born into the river. This parallels the same thing in America when people in the American South took our children and placed them as gator bait into the waters. If it's a boy, throw it in the water. If it's a girl, let it live. Same parallel. Same exact parallel. Same exact parallel. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 47, verse 1. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 47, verse 1 and verse 2. Let's read on from there. It says, let's jump down. Verse 3. And they cast them in for 7 months until the day that thou was born. And thy mother hid thee for 3 months, and they told regarding her, and she made an ark for thee, and covered it with pitch and asphalt, and placed it in the flags on the bank of the river. And she placed you in it 7 days. And your mother came by night and suckled thee, and by day she placed thee in it 7 days. And thy mother came by night to suckle thee, and by the day Miriam thy sister guarded thee from the birds. And in those days Tharmuth, the daughter of Pharaoh, came to bathe in the river, and she heard thy voice crying. And she told her maidens to bring thee forth, and they brought thee unto her. And she took thee out of the ark, and she had compassion on thee. And your sister said to her, shall I go and call thee one of the Hebrew women to nurse and suckle this babe for you? And she said unto her, go. And she went and called your mother Jochebed, and she gave her wages, and she nursed you. And afterwards, when thou was grown up, they brought thee to the daughter of Pharaoh, and thou didst become her son. And Amram thy father taught thee writing. So Amram was the father of Moses. Jochebed was the mother of Moses. And after thou hast completed 3 weeks, they brought thee into the royal court. And thou was 3 weeks of years at court until the time when thou didst go forth from the royal court and did see an Egyptian smiting your friend, who was of the children of Israel, and thou didst slay him and hide him in the sand. And on the 2nd day thou didst and 2 of the children of Israel see 2 of the children of Israel striving together, and thou didst say unto him who was in the wrong, why dost thou smite thy brother? And he was angry and indignant, and said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Thinkest thou to unalive me as thou killest the Egyptian yesterday? And thou didst fear and flee on account of these words. So that was the chapter of Jubilees, chapter 47. So even in the Apocrypha, in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, it gives us another account of our people being held in captivity in ancient Egypt. And it's important for us to understand these apocryphal writings are true. These apocryphal writings help us to understand more biblical based history. So that way we could follow the scriptures in spirit and in truth. Many churches have tried to hide the history of our people. But guess what? We got historical sources, y'all. We got historical sources. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 14. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 14. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 14, it says, "For the Sodomites did not receive those whom they knew not when they came, but these brought friends into bondage that had well deserved of them. They afflicted them with grievous labors."
Thug life.
Now, we got secondary sources that back up what we're talking about as well. The historical source is called the Ipuwer Papyrus. The Ipuwer Papyrus by Leiden, or it's also called the Leiden Papyrus 344. An ancient Egyptian papyrus describing political turmoil, plagues, rivers turning to blood, and the flight of servants. So there's a documented history of a group of people fleeing from Egypt. Here's another source, secondary source, Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 9. Details the hard labor imposed by the Egyptians upon the Israelites, including cutting channels for the river, building dikes, and the constructing of the pyramids. So, historical sources already said that black folks was the one that constructed the pyramids. But you got folks like National Geographic, History Channel that want to deceive the masses and say, no, it was aliens. I guess black folks are aliens now.
Thug life.
It's very odd. As soon as they found out black folks was the one that built the pyramids as slaves in Egypt in the story of Exodus, now they're claiming that it's aliens. Have you seen those type of TV shows? I have. So, captivity number 2. Everybody write in the chat for me. Thank you for the Let 'em Cook. Captivity number 2. Write it down. Captivity number 2. The Assyrian captivity. This is where the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes of Jacob, went off into modern-day Turkey, modern-day Iran, modern-day regions of Western Asia. Okay, watch this. Approximately 722 BC, the northern 10 tribes of the kingdom of Yasharel, which was headquartered in Samaria, was conquered and deported by the Neo-Assyrian Empire under Shalmaneser V and Sargon II. So we're going to give you the covenant parallel in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Thank you for the gift. Appreciate you. And then we're going to show you the prophecy and the history of the Bible. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 36. 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 Thank you for writing it down in the chat for me. It says, "The Lord shall bring thee and thy king over thee, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone." Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand." So, let's go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 32 and 33. Leviticus 26, verse 32 and 33. Leviticus 26, verse 32 and 33. Write it down, highlight it, underline it. Leviticus 26, verse 32. It says, "And I will bring the land to desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it." Verse 33, "And I will scatter you among the heathen, and I will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste." So, how can we verify that the scripture came true? Here's the proof. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6. Second Kings chapter 17, verse 6. Second Kings chapter 17. We're proving the Assyrian captivity. Second Kings chapter 17, verse 6. It says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah, and in Habor, by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. So the children of the Medes are called Madai. Madai was one of the sons of Japhet. That region is modern-day Persia, southwest Iran, parts of Turkey, parts of the land of the Hittites, parts of the areas going off in all them little stand countries, right? Right? The little stands, those stands, we call them stand countries. Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, all these stand countries, right? Watch this. Let's go to Hosea chapter 9, verse 17. Hosea chapter 9, verse 17. Write it down, highlight it, underline it. Thank you for the gift. Hosea chapter 9, verse 17. Hosea chapter 9, verse 17. It says, my God will cast them away because they did not hearken unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. Now, how far did our people wander? They wandered so far that they also ended up in parts of the Americas. They were taken into captivity, and they were taken into the Americas, as well as different parts of the Assyrian lands, modern-day Turkey, modern-day southwest Iran. Matter of fact, do a fact check. Go online right now and type, are there black people in southwest Iran? Look it up. Look it up. Look it up right now. Look it up and say, hey, are there black people in southwest Iran? You're going to be shocked. You're going to be like, hold up. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of black people that lived there for thousands of years. And when you look at some of their pictures of their children, you're going to say, wait a minute, these look like black folks in America. What's going on here? Why are black people in southwest Iran look like black people in America, the Caribbean islands, and different parts of Africa? That's weird. That's strange. Unless we're the same people.
Dog life.
Let's go to Tobit chapter 1, verse 3. Tobit chapter 1, verse 3. Let's go to Tobit chapter 1, verse 3. Tobit chapter 1, verse 3. It says, I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deed to my brethren and my nation, whom came to me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians. So whenever you read the book of Jonah, the book of Tobit, various other books like the book of Nahum, this talks about the northern kingdom. The book of Hosea talks about the northern kingdom. Okay, the northern kingdom went into the Assyrian captivity. Now, remnant of them also stayed in the land during the time of other subsequent captivities. For example, you read in the New Testament where some of northern kingdom was in the area when Christ came to preach. They were called Galilee of the Gentiles, Asher, Zebulun, Naphtali, Gad, Reuben. Our people were scattered all over the world. Hold on a second. All right, from there, let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Thank you for the let him cook. I appreciate you. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. So when you read the book of Jonah, and it's talking about God pronouncing something over Nineveh and all of that stuff, and the people in Nineveh got to repent, that's talking about Israelites in the region. That ain't talking about regular Assyrians. Assyrians didn't give a damn about the Bible, y'all. Let's be honest. All right, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Because Christians are confused. They read the book of Jonah and see, Jonah preached to some people in Nineveh. Did you forget that Israelites were taken as captives in Nineveh? Smart guy? Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, you right, forefront. That's true. They dumb. Watch this. Those are the 10 tribes. What does the Bible say? Those are the 10 tribes. We're in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. That's in the Apocrypha. If you don't have the Apocrypha, I recommend downloading the KJVA on your phone. KJVA, King James Version with Apocrypha. Those are the 10 tribes, which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanessar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt. So they had to go further away to a place where nobody was living, aka the Americas. Here's the proof. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth. Do me a favor, y'all. Tap the screen, get the likes up, share the room with at least 10 people, y'all. Do me a huge favor, y'all. Let's get the likes up to like 200, 300K, y'all. I see the same few people that's tapping. Seeking the Truth has been tapping the screen. I appreciate you tapping the screen, sis. But I need more people to tap on the screen. I need to see variations of names on here, y'all. It can't be the same person tapping, y'all, when there's 100 people in the room. Show your appreciation for this information that's not covered widely on TikTok, and that information is being suppressed right now. So please do me a huge favor. Tap the screen, get the likes up. It's free. Okay? Thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. All right? So the same region is called Arsareth. Arsareth is modern day Americas. North, Central, South America. Columbus identified this region with Arsareth. Now, did remnants of our people stay in Africa? Yes. But our people were scattered, and many of them went into the Persian Gulf, sailed around Africa, and came to the Americas. Matter of fact, when you examine the water currents, you could take a boat from the west coast of Africa and just lay still, and from the winds and the currents, it'll take you right into Brazil, right into the Caribbean islands, right into Bermuda, just directly. It'll take a little bit longer if you're not using like steam and using the twirling turbines of a trade ship or the winds of a ship. But if you just sat on a boat, it'll take you about a year and a half to go right across. Okay. All right, historical sources that prove the Assyrian captivity. There's something called the Nimrud inscriptions, also called Sargon II Annals. Okay, write it down. Nimrud is spelled Nimrud. Nimrud inscriptions. Write it down. Nimrud. Nimrud. Nimrud inscriptions. So cuneiform inscriptions, meaning they etched it in stone, recording the capture of Samaria, and they called it Samariana, of the deportation of over 27,000 Israelites. That's one historical source found in archaeology. Thank you for the heart me. Number 2, the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III. The Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III. So write down in the chat for me, Black Obelisk. Black Obelisk. Black Obelisk. Black Obelisk. Depictions of King Jehu, who was taken from the land of Israel, paying tribute to the Assyrian monarch. And when you look up this thing online, you find out that these folks were melanated people, y'all. Afro textured hair, big beards, right? Braided hair, locked hair. You understand? No type of Eurocentric Germanic features at all. History proves who we are. So, number 3, third captivity. Everybody write it down. Third captivity, the Babylonian captivity. This is when Southern Kingdom, also known as Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, was taken by Nebuchadnezzar around 586 BC to Babylon. This is when the Edomites burnt the first temple that was constructed by Solomon. And this is how the Southern Kingdom was carried into exile. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 41. We're going to look at the covenant parallel, and then we'll go to the scriptural verification. So what we're doing is we're examining all the history of humankind from the time of the Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, and Europeans, right? And we're showing you and proving to you with scripture and historical sources that we fit what the Bible says, and not European people from Germany that converted to a religion that started in Africa. Watch this. Deuteronomy 28, verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So you're going to raise up sons and daughters, but you're not going to enjoy raising them up because they're going to go into slavery. That's what the Bible says. That's the generational curse that proves who the 12 tribes are today. Watch this. Verse 52. Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. Write it down, highlight it, underline it. Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 52. It says, and he, referring to the Babylonians, shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls came down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God has given thee. So the Babylonians would come in, they would take over the land, and they would knock down all our high walls. So it didn't matter if you had a defense city with a big wall, they would knock it down, they would burn it to the ground. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 31. We're proving to you now the history of the Babylonian captivity, which is the third captivity of our discussion. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 31. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 31. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 31. It says, and I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries, aka your churches, right, your temples, unto desolation, and I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. So we had a black temple set up by King Solomon. We had subsequent temples in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in Libya, and various other places. All you got to do is go online and look. Did Israelites have temples in North Africa? Then all of a sudden it's going to pop up. Libya. There was a population of Israelites living in Egypt. You had people living in Sudan. You had people living in the Holy Land, in Syria, in Jordan. We had churches and sanctuaries everywhere. But guess what happened? When the Babylonians came in, when the Greeks came in, when the Romans came in, they destroyed it. They destroyed it. But specifically right now, we're talking about the Babylonians. Okay? Thank you for the heart, me, FNT. Okay? We're talking right now just about the Babylonians. Now, the proof of that is found in 2 Kings chapter 25. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 25. We're going to read verse 11. 2 Kings chapter 25. 2 Kings chapter 25. And we're going to read we're going to start at verse 11. Actually, let's start at verse 5. It says, and the army of the Chaldees, aka the Babylonians, pursued unto the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. Imagine you're a king, and you see your sons unalive right in front of your face. And the last thing they did was unalive your kids after they gouged out your eyes. Then after they did that, they took you and made you work on a mill, grinding in another country far away from your homeland. So not only you weeping and mourning over the pain that you have in your eyes, not only you're weeping and mourning over the children you lost, but you're also in a distant land and you don't even know how to get back over there, y'all. The Bible is serious, y'all. This is real history dealing with real people. And I get irritated when I see people that disrespect the writings of the scriptures as if it ain't real history. You understand? It's real history dealing with our Afro-Hebraic community, y'all. Watch this. Let's read on. Verse 8. This is 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 8. It says, and in the 5th month of the 7th day of the month, which is in the 19th year of the king of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord. Y'all, they burnt our temple, y'all. And he burnt the house of the Lord and the king's house and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. That sounds like what we just read in Deuteronomy. That sounds like exactly what we just read in Deuteronomy. Jeremiah, who was a prophet, prophesied this to take place. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11. And it reads, "And this whole land shall be a desolation," meaning the whole entire land will be wiped off the map, "and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Everybody that's in the chat right now, write it down. 70 years, 7-0. That's a whole lifetime of a man. 70 years. You understand? By the time he was 15 to 30, from the age of 30, you could have had kids. And then another 30 years from there, your kids would have had kids. So that's 3 to 4 generations that could have been in the land right there. And we know some of our people was getting it on real early at an early age. 16, 17, 18, 20, getting kids. So now, within 70 years, let's just divide it. Let's just split it off into 20-year fractions, right? The age of 20, you had a kid. The age of 40, right? The age of 60. So that's 3 generations, 3 to 4 generations right there. You understand? By the time let's say from 15 to 30, you had a bunch of kids. By the time you 30, right, 15 years fast forward, your kids had kids. Then you fast forward another 20 years, your kids had kids, and then they had kids. That's already 4 generations right there. Okay? That's 4 generations already within less than 100 years. So imagine 100,000 people, 200,000 people, 2 million people times 4. Do you get it? Do you get it? That's a lot of people, y'all. That's a lot of people, y'all. Now, the Bible doesn't give the exact numbers, but we're just speculating here. Okay? Deuteronomy, let's go to Psalms chapter 137, verse 1. Psalms chapter 137, verse 1. It says, Psalms 137, verse 1. "By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion."
Dog life.
So King Zedekiah, yeah, I know for damn sure he was crying. But he couldn't cry no more because they gouged out his eyes. So the tear ducts was probably ripped out by then. Imagine crying so much that you couldn't even cry no more. Imagine being in so much pain that no eye drops could help at all. You understand? Goodbye. Alexandria Chanel Lyon said goodbye. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Have a good day. I appreciate your listenership. Let's go to Baruch chapter 1, verse 1. Let's go to Baruch chapter 1, verse 1. This is in the Apocrypha, Baruch chapter 1, verse 1. Let's go to Baruch chapter 1, verse 1. Oh, what happened to my Bible app? 1 second, y'all. My Bible app disappeared on me. Invest in the Forefront Radio so we can get newer technology. My laptop is like old. I got this laptop in 2014. Now we in 2026. Sheesh. Where is this app? Hold on a second, y'all. I'm looking for this app that I had on here. And it just disappeared. That's weird. That's what happened when you install updates. They don't give you your app exactly where you put it. Now you got to go look for it. Desktop app. Here it is. Bible app glitched out. Boney M song, the song. Okay, I don't remember that song, but if you could send me the link to it later, I would appreciate it. Bible app just glitch out on me and stop, and I got to look for it again. Forgive me, y'all. Please donate after the Sabbath, of course, if you're going to contribute via Cash App or PayPal. Donate after the Sabbath, if you would, please. Thank you for the reminder, Sister Adonique. All praises to the Most High. Okay, so while we're waiting for this app to load, are y'all learning a lot of information? Is this making sense for y'all? Right? By the rivers of Babylon. Yeah, I remember that song now. Now I know what you're talking about. I remember what you're talking about now. By the rivers of Babylon. Great information. All praises to the Most High. All praises. I'm happy to hear that. All right, here we go. KJVA, Baruch When the app crashed, it give you like 30 seconds to try to pull it back up. All right, Baruch chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2. It says, "These are the words of the book which Baruch, the son of Neriah, the son of Maasias, the son of Zedekias, the son of Asadias, the son of Helkias, wrote in Babylon." They wrote it in Babylon. "In the 5th year and in the 7th day of the month, what time as the Chaldeans took Jerusalem and burned it with fire." Now, what most folks don't know is that the Edomites were responsible for assisting the Babylonians in burning down our land. Most folks don't know that. They don't know that. Let's go to Baruch chapter 2 now, verse 1 to 3. Baruch chapter 2. We're going to go to Baruch chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. Baruch chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. It says, "Therefore the Lord had made good his word," meaning the prophecies of Deuteronomy came true, "which he pronounced against us and against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings and against our princes and against the men of Israel and Judah." So that shows you part of Northern Kingdom and part of Southern Kingdom was there in the land when the Babylonians and the Assyrians came and oppressed our people. Verse 2, "To bring upon us great plagues," aka generational curses, "such as never was happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem." In Jerusalem. Y'all, that's Africa, y'all. "According to the things that were written in the law of Moses." That's Northeast Africa. There's no way you could convince me that this happened to European people from Canada, y'all. There's no way you could convince me that this happened to European people from Italy, from Germany, from Poland, from Russia. This happened to black people in Africa that was exiled into Mesopotamia. Do you get it? Watch this, verse 3. "That a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter." It was so bad, y'all. People resorted to cannibalism. It was that bad. It was that bad. That's right. Never forget this history. This is your history. Let's go to Baruch chapter 3, verse 8. Now, even with all that, our people will forget this information. Baruch chapter 3, verse 8. 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 It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from our God. Hear, O Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand. How happeneth, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land? That thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the unalive." We're the ones that are subject to payments. So, historical sources. The Babylonian Chronicles, also known as BM 21946, also known as the Jerusalem Chronicle, is a cuneiform tablet that recorded Nebuchadnezzar's siege of Jerusalem, the capture of its king Jehoiachin, and the appointment of a replacement, which was Zedekiah, in 797 to 786 BC. We got receipts, y'all. We got receipts. We know what we're talking about, y'all. We know what the hell we're talking about. That's 3 captivities out of 8. So far, we covered Egypt with prophecy, history. We covered Assyria with prophecy and history. We covered Babylon with prophecy and history. What was the next captivity after Babylon? Write it in the chat. What was the next empire that had their hands on placing our people in captivity after the fall of Babylon? Nope, not Rome. Try again. Not Rome. Try again. Not Greeks. Try it again. There we go. The Persians. The Medo-Persians, the children of the Medes, Madai, and the Elamites. The Elamites come from Shem. Madai comes from Japhet. So 2 groups, Japhet and Shem, that worked together as a joint empire called the Medo-Persia or the Persia-Media Empire. Now, the term Persia comes from the Greek term Perseus, which is a fake deity. After the Greeks colonized and invaded that region, they retitled themselves to those folks to Persians. They never called themselves Persians. That was Mr. Dwight that gave them that name. Okay. So following the fall of the Babylonian captivity, you had Cyrus the Great around 539 BC. I remember yesterday somebody was asking me about Cyrus. The Israelites remained subjects under the Medo-Persian Empire, while the small remnant returned to rebuild the temple under Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. So when you read the books of Ezra, Nehemiah, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Esdras, the book of Esther, right? These are all literature found, right, around that time period of the Persian captivity. Do you get it? Y for yes and for no. Does everybody understand? Y for yes and for no. Y for yes if you understand. All right, correct. So we're on number 4. We're on the Persian captivity. Good. All right, I'm glad y'all taking notes. So the covenant parallel. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Let me pull it on my Bible app real quick so I can just read it fast instead of flipping pages. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. We're going to read 47 and 48. It says, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So, we are the ones that had other nationalities ruling over us. During the time of the Persians, that was what was going on. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. Write it down, highlight it. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. It says, and ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. Do y'all see what the Bible say? Do y'all see what the Bible say? Do y'all get it? Hold on a second. All right, so we're at Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. Now let's cover the scriptural verification. Let's cover the scriptural verification. Let's go to Esther chapter 3. Esther chapter 3, verse 8. Esther chapter 3, verse 8. We're showing you how the prophecy was given during the time of Moses, and it fast forward all the way to the time of the Persian Empire. Okay? Watch this. Esther chapter 3, verse 8. And Haman, this was a Macedonian Greek now, said to King Ahasuerus, Ahasuerus is the same person known as Artaxerxes. So Ahasuerus in the Bible is Artaxerxes. There is a certain people scattered abroad, and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom. Now, I got to show you real quick to prove to you that the Bible has its connections to Africa first and not Europe. You don't hear about Europe until you get to like the New Testament. Okay, I'm going to prove to you right now that the Bible starts off in Africa. Let's hold that verse in Esther, and let's go to Esther chapter 1, verse 1. Watch this. Let's go to Esther chapter 1, verse 1. I'm about to prove to you in one verse that this is black history. Watch this. Watch this. Esther chapter 1, verse 1. It says, now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. Remember, Ahasuerus is who? Who is Ahasuerus? Artaxerxes. Ahasuerus in the regular Bible is Artaxerxes, a historical figure. Watch this. This Ahasuerus, which reigned from India to Ethiopia. From India to Ethiopia. From India to Africa. Correct. The movie 300.
Thug life.
So, the Israelites were taken into captivity by the Persians, and we were scattered amongst all the provinces of their kingdom. Watch this. It says, over 107 and 20 provinces. Over 107 and 20. So 127 provinces from Africa all the way to India. That's how the Babylonian and the Persian Empire was. From Africa all the way to India. Do y'all get it? So black folks were scattered and dispersed from Africa to India, Ethiopia to India. Do you get it? Why for yes and for no? This is Black history in the Bible, baby.
Thug life.
This is Black history in the Bible, y'all. You understand? All right, we got wise in the building. This is our history in the Bible. There's no way you could convince me this is talking about people from Lithuania. They really want you to believe in the Ten Commandments movie that this is talking about Charleston Heston and people from Connecticut or Scandinavia when we're reading in the Bible from India to Ethiopia. That's melanated folks, black and brown people. You understand? All right. Black and dark brown people. Let me put it like that because folks get confused. I think we're talking about Arabs or something. All right, let's go back. Esther chapter 3, verse 8. Esther chapter 3, verse 8. And Haman, who was a Macedonian Greek, said to King Ahasuerus, who was a Persian, there was a certain people scattered abroad. This is where we get the term diaspora. And dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom. And their laws, meaning our constitution, are diverse from all people. While everybody else is eating pork, we're not eating pork. While everybody else is shaving off their beards, we're not shaving off our beards. While everybody else is dressing inappropriate, our women dress modestly. While everybody else is walking in debauchery and filth, we walk after the commandments of the Most High. Watch this. Neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 8. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 8. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 8. Tap the screen, get the likes up, share the room with at least 10 people. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 8. It says, remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, if you transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. So, did this come true in the Persian Empire? Yes. Did this come true under Egypt, Assyria, Babylon? Yes. The prophecy is true, y'all. We were scattered amongst all nations. That's us. Every empire built their empire by scattering our people and forcing them both in construction and the agricultural sector. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to Additions of Esther. Let's go to Additions to Esther, chapter 13, verse 1. Let's go to Additions to Esther, chapter 13, verse 1. Let's go to Additions to Esther, chapter 13, verse 1. Okay, thank you for the let them cook. Hold on a second. My Bible app ain't apping right now. Hold on a second. Let me find it in my regular physical Bible. Flipping. Esther. 1 second. Additions to Esther in the King James Version Apocrypha, chapter 13, verse 1. Here we go. It says, the copy of the letters was this. The King Artaxerxes, written these things to the princes and to the governors that are under him from India to Ethiopia. From India to Ethiopia in 107 and 20 provinces. Y'all see that? So this shows you that our people were scattered all over these regions. So let's read on. Verse 2. After that, I became Lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world, not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness, I purposed to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and opening for the passage to the utmost coast to renew peace, which is desired of all men. Verse 3. Now, when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Haman, that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, had the honor of the second place to my kingdom, declaring unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was a scattered and certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations, and continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdom honorably intended by us could not go forward. So, what is this telling us? This tells us that nations on the earth documented our people and always tried to demonize us to make us look bad in front of others. When you want to follow the laws of God, other nations that want to embrace paganism will demonize you. Straight up. And let's parallel this to today. On the news media, you will see exaggerated stories where black men and black women and black children are demonized all across American media. You find it in their movies, you find it in their music videos that they push. We as a people are not a propensity of only thugs and gangsters and criminals, but because of TV shows like The Wire, because of music videos that embrace rap culture, other nationalities across the world assume that that's the character of our people because of the demonization, I can't even say the word, the demonization done by Western media. If Hollywood is controlling the narrative, they're going to make innocent men, women, and children look like criminals while they conduct themselves and do violence and vitriol all across the planet. People get shocked when they see me with this hair and they say, "You not a gangster?" I say, "Nah, I'm not a gangster. I actually used to work in the medical field with surgeons, hand surgeons, knee surgeons. They're like forefront, but you look like one of them people from like the Bloods or the Crips or something." Nope. Worked in hospitals, worked in clinics all over the United States. Not a medical doctor. Okay? But when people see you, they say, "Ah, you look like a gangster. You look like a thug." That's a perception instilled on people due to media, brainwashing techniques. So, Ezra also details the Persian decree in 1 Ezra chapter 2, verse 1 to 8. For time's sake, we're not going to read it, but there was a decree of Cyrus permitting all Judeans to return back and rebuild Jerusalem, highlighting our ongoing political dependence on Persia. Hollywood is controlled by a small hats. Yes, correct. It's weird. They rather us be a gangster too, right? The biggest gangster wears a badge, works a 9 to 5, and drives in a car that goes woo, 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 woo. That's the biggest gangster on the planet. Imagine having rights that are violated by people that can run into your house and unalive you at any given time and steal all the stuff in your house and say, we confiscated this because he was dealing with schmugs. Do you know how many black folks go on a plane and because they got more than 5,000 on their hand, they say, you're doing something illegal. We're going to confiscate this. And they could be doggone business owners. So many stories, y'all, of our people being mistreated just because of their demographic. It don't happen to nobody else on the planet, y'all. Okay? Now, historical sources. There was something called the Cyrus cylinder. Everybody write it down. Cyrus cylinder. Cyrus spelled C-Y-R-U-S. Cylinder spelled C-Y-L-I-N-D-E-R. Cyrus cylinder. This was a clay cylinder proclaiming Cyrus's conquest of Babylon and his policy allowing exile groups to return to their native homelands. Okay? So that's documented historical sources proving the Bible correct. All right? Did everybody write that down? Did everybody write that down? Cyrus cylinder. There we go. Thank you, Doris. All right. The next historical source is called the Elephantine papyri. Okay. This was a 5th century BC Aramaic document proving the presence of a flourishing Israelite military colony on Elephantine Island in Egypt under Persian rule. Okay. Black folks in Egypt, in Africa, on an island next to Chad, next to Sudan, next to Libya, right? An island off the coast of Egypt, right? Where there was proof of our ancestry there. Do you get it? All right. Now, let's go to the 5th captivity. This is found in 1st and 2nd Maccabees. It's also mentioned in Joel. It is the Grecian captivity. Write it down. Number 5, the Grecian captivity. The Grecian captivity. Everybody write it down. The Grecian captivity. This was under the Seleucid and Ptolemaic dynasties. This is in the book known as 1st and 2nd Esdras. I think this is going to be the last one for today, and then we'll cover the last 3 in our next discussion, okay? Yeah, I think we'll do that. I think that'll be fair. We'll cover this as our last one, the Grecian captivity, and then we'll go over the last 3 captivities in our next discussion. Is that fair, y'all? That's cool with y'all? All praises, all praises. All right. So the Grecian captivity follows the conquest of Alexander the Greek. Now, I don't call him Alexander the Great because he wasn't my great ancestor. Okay. Europeans could call him the Great all they want because that's their ancestor, Alexander the Edomite. So we don't call him Alexander the Great. He ain't great to us because him and his cohorts did a lot of bad stuff to our ancestors. When you read the history of what they did, you'll be like, oh, snap, for real? But now, notice Europeans say that Alexander the Greek and his cohorts are the dawn of Western civilization. And they're correct. They're the dawn of Western influence on the earth. And evils was multiplied on the earth because of them. Now, Judea became under their rule under the Greek Ptolemaic and Seleucid dynasties. This era brought severe forced assimilation. When you read in the New Testament, neither Jew nor Greek, neither bond nor free, it's because Israelites were forced to become Greek citizens. Israelites were forced to no longer call themselves Jews. Israelites were forced to worship Zeus and Aphrodite and participate in the Olympic Games. Israelites were forced under the penalty of being deleted and tortured to eat pork, y'all. It was that bad, y'all. It was that bad, y'all. Forced assimilation, cultural erasure, physical slaughter. And this happened particularly under Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Now, I know some Israelite camps call him Antiochus. It's actually Antiochus. Okay? Antiochus IV Epiphanes. It's not Antiochus, it's Antiochus. Okay? That's the proper way to pronounce that name. I see Israelite videos talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. It's Antiochus Epiphanes. The fourth. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Let's get right into scriptures. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. So let's make it plain. Black folks are going to be taken as captives to the Greeks. All right? Plain as day. And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. No military might, no political might, no economic might. Now, from there, let's go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 14 to 17. Levi 26, verse 14. We're going to read verse 14 and we're going to read verse 17. It says, but if you will not hearken unto me, and you will not do all these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you break my covenant, I will also do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror. Let's jump down. Verse 15. And I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursue you. So this is in the Bible. This is in the Bible. Now, the scriptural verification of this thing is found in Daniel chapter 8, verse 21. Daniel chapter 8, verse 21. Matter of fact, I'll give you an easy one. Before we go to Daniel, let's go to Joel chapter 3, verse 6. Joel chapter 3, verse 6. Joel chapter 3, verse 6 is an easy one. Joel chapter 3, verse 6. It says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold to the Grecians, that you might remove them far, far from their border. This is now how black folks were taken from North Africa across the Mediterranean into Greek territories, European territories, Mediterranean territories, Greek colonies. So when you read about Ephesians, that's Israelites there. Rome, that's Israelites there. Ephesus, that's Israelites there. Galatians, Philippians, all of these areas mentioned in the New Testament are Israelites that are scattered there in Greek lands. Do you get it? Is anybody confused? Do y'all get it? It says, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold to the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. Black folks wasn't in Africa no more. They was now in Europe and other areas of the Mediterranean. Do y'all get it? Y for yes and for no. This is in the Bible. Most Christian pastors ignore this. Most Christian pastors ignore this because you won't understand the New Testament unless you understand the Grecian captivity. Israelites were forced to become Greek citizens, European citizens, Roman citizens, American citizens. Do you get it? That's how we know that it's talking about our people. Okay, if you're confused, let me give you another parallel. First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 41. This is plain. Because somebody might say, forefront, that ain't saying y'all went into slavery. No, they ain't talking about that. Okay, this one is more clearer. First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 41. First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 41. It says, and the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. Is that clear? Is that clear as day? Israelites being sold as slaves. A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. So under the Ptolemaic dynasty, under the Seleucid dynasty, this was correct. Hellenization. Greek philosophy, Greek art, Greek religion, Greek practices, right? Meant to destroy our particular demographic. Okay? All right. Let's go to Daniel now. Daniel also prophesied about the Grecian Empire. Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8, verse 21 and 22. Daniel chapter 8, verse 21 and 22. Daniel chapter 8, verse 21 and 22. All right. Daniel chapter 8, verse 21 and 22. It says, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, the king of Grecia, and the great horn between his eyes is the first king. That's Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Macedonian Greek, who was an Edomite of the Temenid dynasty. When you read Wikipedia, you got to go through a whole bunch of layers of stuff to see in between the lines. But his father was called Philip of Macedon, and you find out that he was part of the Argead dynasty. The Argead dynasty was also called the Temenid dynasty. And when you read Genesis chapter 36, you find out that Teman was a descendant of the Amalekites, who are descendants of who? Edomites. So Alexander the Greek was the first Edomite king over Grecians. There was black Greeks that was there before, but Alexander was the Edomite that conquered them. You read about them going over there and colonizing just like they always do. Okay? All right. From there, verse 2. It says, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Meaning what? Alexander passed away, and four generals took on the mantle to rule over the empire of Greece. The names just escape me. Ptolemy, Lysimachus, Seleucid, and Cassander. Those are the four generals. All right. Y'all can look it up online on Google if you want. All right, let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 10. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 10. No, actually, let's start at verse 9. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. What happened when the Greeks came into power? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. You wouldn't know an Edomite if he shook your hand. Okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you very much. Block. Okay? There you go. We sending people to block party today, huh? Mm-hmm. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, do I have it on auto accept? Okay, hold on a second. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. What's your question or comment? You're on the panel. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. What's your question or comment? Fan row? Fan row? Why do people hit the guest icon and they're not paying attention to what they're doing? We got a whole entire class and people adding themselves on the thing. Let me turn off guests. I thought I turned that off. Why is it saying that the guest came? I don't even know how the person came up. Show available spots. Allow guests. No. All right,
Shalom.
turn that off. Shalom. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. What's your question or comment?
No, my comment is, my brother, keep teaching. The Most High got his hands all over you. Let the demons, listen, if the demons didn't have nothing derogatory to say, your lesson wouldn't be worth nothing. Keep teaching them, Mark. It's time. The Gentiles' time of rule is almost up. You know, he said Esau's time to rule is ending. Jacob is right after. So keep teaching, Mark. You understand? It ain't gonna be but a remnant of us anyway. So keep reaching the remnant, and we love you and support you over here.
Thank you. I appreciate your listenership. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Shalom, Mark.
Yes, sir. You too. Peace and blessings to the 12. I like that thing right there. All right. Let's go back to what we're reading here. So, when the Greeks came into power, right? Was it love? Was it appreciation? Was it peace and blessings for everybody, or was it something else? Let's find out. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9. Write it in the chat, please. Yep, you are correct. The answer is no. How much INS a rem? Oh, how much is a remnant? We don't know. It could be anywhere from a few people to billions on top of billions of people. But the Bible says that we are like the stars of heaven. All right. So First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9, it says, and after his unaliving, meaning after Alexander the Greek passed away, they all, meaning the four generals, put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Hostile in range.
So when Christopher Columbus, France, Spain, Portugal, Europe, America came into power, evils was multiplied in the earth. Do you get it? When the Romans, when the Greeks were in power, evils were multiplied in the earth. Not the dawn of Western civilization, not cultivation, not art, not philosophy. Y'all, they had us worshiping demons and they called it literature, y'all. Zeus, Aphrodite, those are demons, man. Thor, Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Marvel characters. You understand? Evils was multiplied in the earth. What kind of evils? Let's find out. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. And the kingdom of the Greeks In those days there went out Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. Just like in 2026, you got Gentiles and Israelites talking about, hey, God love everybody. Let's make a covenant where God loves everybody and we could be one happy family. While we're on the bottom and they're on the top. What the hell? Watch this. In those days there went out wicked men out of Israel, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device, meaning this plot, are Greeks, Phoenicians. No, the Phoenicians are Canaanites, Tyrians, and Zidonians that were given the title of Phoenicians by Edomites. Okay, the Greeks are not Phoenicians. Those are two different demographics. The Tyrians, the Zidonians, these are black tribes of people. There were also ancient black Greeks, but the Edomites that call themselves Greeks are the Macedonian Greeks. They're the Hellenized Greeks, the ones that forced us to assimilate to their culture. So to answer your question, no. All right, let's continue. We're at verse 13. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise. What does that sound like, y'all? Gymnasium, a place of exercise. A place of exercise. This is why people to this day in 2026 go to the gym. And what do? You had lunch? I don't understand your comment. The gymnasium was a place where people exercise without their apparel. This is why when you go to the gym in 2026, most people, they go to the gym and it's a bunch of Rainbow Squad people. And I'm trying to be polite in my speech. And a lot of people wearing tight clothing. Let's just put it like that. Okay? I don't like going to the gym because dudes be trying to look at you and I'm like, what the hell? Females be trying to look at you and I'm like, I'm married, what the hell? And most folks ain't got no damn clothes on. So I can work out in my house. I don't need to go to no gym. All right? And most folks, when they go, they not modestly appareled. So keep yourself away from sin, y'all. I'm just telling you straight. All right, let's read on. I'm over here having flashbacks. So when I went to the gym, I was so pissed off. It was so frustrating. All right, anyway, verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and forsook the Bible, y'all. They forsook the commandments, and joined themselves to the heathen, aka the Gentiles, and were sold to do mischief. So here it is. You got people that's telling us in the last days that Christ came to save some of the Gentiles. And I'm trying to figure out why they skipped this part in the Bible where it says joining with the Gentiles led to mischief. What kind of mischief? Okay, watch this. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt. That's in Africa. That's why Europeans right now to this day think that Egypt is a Greek empire because of this right here. Because of the Ptolemies invading that region, they say, we colonized Egypt, so it belonged to us. Then around 700 AD, the Arabs came in and they invaded. Now they say Egypt belongs to them. Ancient civilization of Egypt that shows Black King Tut, Black Nefertiti, Black Taharka from Ethiopia. They say that's all them folks. You see how they lie? Colonizers lie, y'all. I'm going to tell you straight. Settlers lie. I'm telling you straight. Watch this. And made war, where he went into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy. So if you had a great navy, that means you're traveling across the water on ship to get to that location. That means you're not originally from there. Don't let these Europeans deceive you. These Arabs deceive you. Don't let them trick you. These Greeks invaded across the Mediterranean with a great navy, meaning water military. Do you get it? Watch this. A bunch of damn sailors. Watch this. Verse 18. And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to unalive. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, that's in Africa next to Sudan, right? And took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. So you invade Africa, you first demolish Egypt. Your next step is to attack the Israelites that lived in Jerusalem. Do you see how these Gentiles get down? Do you see how they do? Do you understand their modus operandi, their MO? Do you get it? I hope you do. Watch this. And he entered proudly into the sanctuary, like you read in the book of Daniel, and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof. Now, I want y'all to put y'all critical thinking hats on. If somebody came into your church, stole all the stuff out of your church, would you invite them back to your church and tell them Jesus is going to save you from your sins? If somebody literally came in, destroyed your temple, destroyed where you worshiped your Savior, your God, your deity, would you turn around and be like, hey, come on in, the water's fine, we appreciate you? This is the stupidity of our community. I'm going to tell you straight. You will see a Eurocentric delusionalist and you'll come and invite them into the cookout. That's what the black church did for Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof, they ain't never seen this dude before. They say, come on into our church. Let's convince you to worship European Caesar Borgia. And that one individual took out 9 human beings. Stop being simple out here.
Hostile in range.
Watch this. Verse 22. And the table of the showbread and the pouring vessels and the vials and the censers of gold and the veil and the crown and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. Wow. So all of this stuff they had in our church, in our temple, in our synagogue, they pulled it off. They pulled it down. Correct. Never trust your enemy. Correct. The answer is no. You understand? Watch this. Verse 23. He took also silver and the gold and the precious vessels, and he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land and made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Wait a minute here. We stop right here at verse 24. Let's go back to Joel and see something interesting about what Joel said. We skipped reading this when we were talking about Joel, but Joel prophesied it before it happened. So let's show you how Joel preached this thing. Let's go to Joel chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 5 first. We're going to read 5 and 6. Listen close. Joel chapter 3, verse 5. It says, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, verse 6, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold to the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border.
Thug life.
Does this sound like exactly what we just read in 1 Maccabees chapter 1? Why for yes and for no? Sounds like it to me. Sounds like it to me. Does this sound like exactly what we just read in 1 Maccabees? I would hope y'all paying attention. Sounds like it to me. Sounds like exactly what happened. The Bible is a true book, y'all. So several centuries before this happened, Joel was around the Babylonian captivity. Okay? Joel, let me make sure. Hold on. Joel, it says, the word of the Lord that came to Joel, the son of Pethuel, you old man, da, 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 da. Let's see right here. Hold on a second. It's right after Hosea, so that's in between the Assyrian captivity and the Babylonian captivity, because Hosea was the Assyrian captivity. Thank you for the let him cook. All right? So do y'all get it? Do y'all see how the Bible is a true book, y'all? Do you see how the Bible is a true book? Let's jump down to 41. Let's jump down to 41 to 43. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41 to 43, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. That's modern day democracy. So the concept of democracy came from the Greeks. The concept of democracy came from the Greeks, that all should be one people. Now, what happens when you decide to say that all are going to be one people? Are you going to follow your own customs, or are you going to follow the customs of the dominant culture? Let's find out. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. So democracy, contrary to popular belief, is their religion. Their religious structure is tied in with their political structure. Christianity, democracy, one and the same thing. That's why they call themselves good old American Christians. It's the same thing in their eyes. Whether they're on the red side or the blue side, it's the same thing to them. Okay? Watch this. Now, many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed to idols, just like they do in a Christian church, and profaned the Sabbath. Christmas is a sacrifice, nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Thanksgiving Day is a sacrifice, nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Easter is a sacrifice, nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Same thing with St. Valentine's Day. Same thing with Easter. Same thing with, what's another one? Halloween. It's the same thing, y'all. It's the same thing. So do you see how the Bible is a true book, y'all? Watch this. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 56. 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 56. It says, and when they had rent in pieces the books of the law. Hold up, they was burning the Bible, y'all.
Hostile in range.
When they had rent in pieces the book of the law. When they had rent in pieces the book of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire, y'all. You think God is going to allow those that blasphemed his Holy Spirit and the words that his prophets wrote down to come into his kingdom? Do y'all really think that the same people that burned down the Bible, as soon as they found out Jesus was black, they burned down the Bible? You think Christ is going to forgive them for blasphemy of his spirit and say, you could come to my church, I love you, even though you burn my Bible, you keep people in sin? Watch this. Verse 57, and whoso was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
Hostile in range.
That sounds like democracy. That sounds like Christianity. If you don't come to my church, we're going to unalive you. If you don't believe that Jesus is European, we're going to unalive you. This is the same folks that walk around burning crosses on people's lawns. The same people. Same people. And they will do the same. Not at all. And they will do the same because no new thing under the sun. Correct? When pigs fly means no. Okay. There you go. There you go. You cooking with oil. You cooking with oil. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 8. This details when the Greeks made a decree forcing all Judeans to participate in swine's flesh, to sacrifice to Greek demons, and to abandon the Sabbath on pain of death. Let's read it. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 8. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 8. It says, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles, meaning what? You can no longer call yourself a Jew, you had to call yourself a Greek citizen. The same shall be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. So it was a pain for us to join with the Greeks. It was a misery for us to join with the Gentiles. It wasn't our freedom. It was our enslavement and oppression. If you wasn't eating pork, if you wasn't worshiping Dionysus and Hercules and Zeus, they would unalive you, y'all. Don't never let them deceive you into thinking that their ancestors loved you. Because they show you in 2026 that they don't love you. What the hell? You confused now? This is why they told us don't read the Apocrypha. This is why they said it's not canon, because it pulls their card of how their ancestors got down and how you were forced to become Greek citizens, forced to become Gentiles. They don't want you to read that in church. Now, historical sources. Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 12, Chapter 1. Records that Ptolemy I Soter invaded Jerusalem, took over 100,000 people of the tribe of Judah captive, Judeans, either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, took them as slaves and forcibly relocated them into Egypt and Cyrene. So we got forced out and we went into Egypt and Libya. There's black folks in Libya to this day. There's black folks in Aswan, Egypt to this day. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you understand? Is that clear? That's crystal, y'all. This is black history in the Bible, y'all. Here's another source. Decrees of Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes, as preserved in the historical annals of someone named Polybius, documenting the outlaw of circumcising people, outlawing the Sabbath, and outlawing Torah study in 167 BC.
Hostile in range.
All right, so this proves to you that we are the lost tribes, showing you 5 captivities. In our next discussion, maybe next Sabbath, most high willing, we'll go over the last 3 captivities of our people. Okay, are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? If you have questions, this is your opportunity to ask your question. Let me open up the guest panel. Hold on a second. All right, we showing available spots here. Should I change it like this? I'll just put it like that. All right, is it available? Great lesson, Tawada. You're welcome. Amazing information. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. We covered 5 captivities. Our next discussion will be 6. The Roman captivity, Arabians, and the Europeans. Thank you for this class. Very helpful. All praises to the Most High. So we're exploring the historical evidence of our Afro-Hebraic community being scattered in all nations. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to hit the guest icon and come up and ask your question. The Water Brother, crucial information. All praises to the Most High. I try to condense a lot of information in a short period of time, but it's a lot of info, y'all, so it's not easy. The Water Bro, much needed information. All praises to the Most High. All praises. Because you'll get people that ask you a question. Hey, prove to me that you're a Hebrew. Okay, I got the scriptures for you, and I got the history right here. It's all on the Forefront Radio. Backed it up with the Bible, backed it up with historical sources, all of that stuff. Okay? Thank you, brother. You're welcome, Sister Nia. I appreciate you. User 8180 said, yes, thank you for this class. My mind is blown away. All praise to the Most High. I like that thing right there. I like that thing right there. When information is power. I like that thing right there. All praises. Kamasi said, the water, bro, much appreciated for your thought and time and knowledge. All praises. All praises. All right, so I'm going to assume that nobody has any questions. I'm going to assume that, so we're going to just go ahead and play a song, and we'll close out for our discussion. Thank you for the heart, me. Oh, wait a minute. We got a guest that came up. Pedro. Okay.
Pedro.
How you doing? Welcome
I'm
to the
good, my
Forefront
brother.
Radio.
How are you? Thank
What's
you.
up?
New to the live. I've listened several times. A schedule don't afford me to be able to intently gather all information, but thank you, first of all. I appreciate the enlightenment. Bless the Lord. Now, my question is I have 2 questions. One, I've heard somewhere where the Greeks were actually black.
Yes, the original Greeks were melanated communities. All the sons of Japhet, Shem, and Ham were black. The Edomites are the group of people that invade other people's lands and take on their identity. So when you read of Philip II of Macedon, he was an Idumean as well as Alexander the Greek. So from his point forward, they took over the Grecian territories for themselves and they colonized it. The proof of that is found in the secondary source called the Book of Jasher, chapter 90, where it talks about the sons of Kittim fighting with the sons of Esau and intermingling themselves in one bloodline. Also, there's another source that you could read called Antiquities of the Jews by Flavius Josephus, which goes more into some history as it relates to the Greeks coming in. What Europeans always do is that they invade a land, and you can testify to this. They invade a land, take it over, and then say that they're the original people. Australia is a perfect example. Australia was melanated folks all up and down there. And they say, oh, you ain't from here, you're Aboriginal, we just gonna come take over this plane. And now all Australian, when you think of Australia, you think of European people. But we know they're British.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Same thing with America.
All right. So Jasher, the book of Jasher, chapter 19, or you said, right?
Chapter 90. Chapter 90. Chapter 90.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Now, my second question was in regard to these European or Jewish people in Israel right now. How, just a brief synopsis, if you can, you might not be able to do it right now in this form, but how did that come to be, this 1948, the one-day war, and
Sure.
how did that come to be? Thank you.
Let's go to Ezekiel chapter. The Bible identifies who they are. They're not really the people of the book. They are Idumeans. They're the evil twin brother of Jacob, known as Esau. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36, and we're going to read verse 5. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy, if I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek word for Edom, or the Edomites, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it for a prey. So that's an example. Read that whole chapter. That whole chapter, Ezekiel 35 and Ezekiel 36, gives you enlightenment on how the Edomites worked with the heathen, aka the Romans, to take over the land. So the descendants of the Romans are the same people we call British, Spain, Italy. They all invaded that region. The Romans invaded Spain. They invaded Galatia. They invaded Britain. They invaded Germany, took over that area, and forced the people into those regions. They set up puppet governments. You also read in First Maccabees. Let's go to that real quick. First Maccabees chapter 8 talks about the Roman Empire. First Maccabees chapter 8. Let's start at verse 1. It says, now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans. The fame of the Romans. The fame of the Romans. Let's jump down to verse 3. And what they had done in the country of Spain. So Romans, Edomites, invaded Spain, took it over for themselves, for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which was there. Verse 4, and their policy and patience, they had conquered all the place, that it was very far from them, and the kings also that came against. Hold on a second, my daughter crying. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, y'all. Hold on a second, brother. All right. We're currently at First Maccabees chapter 8 talking about the Romans. All right. You with me so far?
Yes, sir. You said the Romans and the Edomites.
Correct. First Maccabees chapter 8 verse 3. And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and the gold which were there. Let's jump down to verse 12. It says, let's jump down to verse 11. It says, it was told him besides how they destroyed and built and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and the isles, meaning the isles of the Gentiles, that at any time resisted them. But with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and that they had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, insomuch as all that heard the fame of them were afraid of them. Verse, what else do I want here? Verse 15. This shows the parallels between the Romans and the American government. Watch this. It says, moreover, how they made for themselves a senate house. So Rome had a senate. America had a Senate. Now you see why they try to take this out of the Bible, right? Watch this. Wherein 327 men sat in council daily. We call that the House of Representatives. Watch this. Consulting always for the people, aka Congress, to the end that they might be well ordered. Verse 16. And that they committed their government to one man every year. Now in America, they commit their man to one person that presides every year. They call him the president. Instead of a Caesar, they call it a president. And that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation. Now watch this, verse 18. And they entreated them that they would take the yoke from them, because they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude.
Hostile in range.
So the Greeks and the Romans became a joint empire, and before that happened, we tried to make a confederation with the Romans to tell them to get these people off our back because they was enslaving our people, just like America. So think of it like the British is the Greeks. From the Greeks came the Roman Empire, right? So from Britain came America. America is a replica of Rome. Britain is a replica of Greece, right? So they came and they was oppressing us. The initiation of the transatlantic slave trade for our people happened with the British, just like it happened with the Grecians. Then it was extended over to the Americans, just like it was extended over to the Romans. They said, "Hey, don't read that book. We don't want you to read that book. That book right there is too serious. Say it's fake. It's not real. It's a fiction. It's not part of canon." That's what these Europeans say, because they know the truth. Just like what's that famous comedian said? What's his name? Cat Williams. He said, "The liar knows what lies he told." You remember that clip? The liar knows. So if he lying, he gonna have you look over there while always looking over here. Do you get it?
Sleight of hand. Yeah, the distraction. Now, what's the meaning of the background? You stepped off for a moment. That TBN live. What's the meaning of that?
Oh, right there where it says "Stop lying on my name." I just use that as a generic background.
Okay.
That ain't related to the topic for today. I just use that because I didn't want to use the other background that I had, and I didn't make a background for today's discussion. So that's just a random background for today.
Got you. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Godspeed. Look forward to joining the live and following you. I think I'm already following you, but thank you. Appreciate all the info. Keep informing our people.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for your listenership. Thank you. May the Most High bless you and cause His face to shine upon you. With that, we say shalom and peace to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Listen to this last song, and we're going to close out, all right?
Look up at the sky, that's the first sermon ever preached. No words, no language, but the message still reached. Day after day pours out speech like a river. Night and night, knowledge, watch the stars deliver. The son's a bridegroom leaving his chamber at dawn, running his course like a champion strong. From one end of heaven circling back to the other, nothing hidden from that heat, nothing covered. There's a witness before Sinai, before the word was penned. Creation testifying, no beginning, no end. Immortally high, eternal on the throne, before the mountains, before the world was known. Israel sleeping in the dust, gonna rise. Immortal bodies, no more death, no more cries, no more pain, no more sorrow in the land. Standing resurrected, new creation, new man. Angels round the throne, they cry holy day and night. Ministers of flame, messengers of light. They watched when he hung the stars like lanterns in the dark. Now they watch the remnant waiting on the watching for the trumpet, watching for the day when the sleeping saints rise up out of the clay. Corruption puts on incorruption like a robe. Mortal puts on immortal, swallowed up the whole. Death loses its sting, the grave loses its wind. The law was perfect, converting the soul from within. No sun needed and no lamp, no candlelight. Yah himself the glory, no more day or night. No tears left to wipe, no funeral, no grave. Every Israelite standing that the Father came to save. The heavens still declaring while we wait on that day. Testimony sure more precious than gold and great gain. Sweeter than honey dripping from the comb. Let the words of my mouth bring the wanderers home. Immortal Yah, eternal on the throne. New heavens, new earth, creation fully grown. No more death, no more pain, no more sorrow stain. Resurrection morning, we rise and never fade again.